I'm Tanner.
And I'm Jess.
And we do a show called Project Weird, where Jess and I dive into the weird world of the paranormal, cryptozoology, demons, and the like. So if that sounds like something you're into, we are a show that's based on learning and finding an entry point into the weird and sometimes pseudo-intellectual world of the paranormal. So if that kind of sounds like your thing, or even if it doesn't, give us a shot. It only gets weirder from here. Stay weird, friends.
Bye.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world
October's over.
Of DC while fielding questions from questioners like
Wow. You have the script in front of you.
I do.
How does this happen?
I don't know why I write it down every week, too.
It's because you're partway through and then you're so excited about what the voice you look me in the eye and lose your place.
It's literally two sentences and I can't get through it.
And we've been doing it for a year and a half.
Holy shit. Let's head to the news. Well, you are excited.
I'm so excited.
This is fucking stupid news. John Cryer cast as Lex Luthor on Supergirl.
I don't hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
I just can't picture that dork being like menacing Luthor.
But he is also like an actor. It's so easy for us to forget, especially when people play a particular character for a very long time.
He's basically been Ducky for like 40 years. So
I know, but really, like, yeah, he's shaved his head.
I hope he shaves his beard too, because the shaved head with the beard is weird.
This is gonna feel like
I just made fun of you without trying. On him, it's weird. On him,
good save. I was going to say, Jesus, it's going to sound like I'm sort of denigrating the TV shows a bit. That's not 100% what I mean, but I kind of feel like he would fit more as Lex Luthor in the Arrowverse than, on Titans or in movies or things like that, right? And really, like, it's not like Lex is going to be, like, in there a ton, you know what I mean? Like, they have Lena Luthor. That, like, the Supergirl has its own villains. In the way that Superman's not always showing up, Lex isn't always showing up. So
unless they're going to do like a whole season where he's the main villain,
maybe. But like even at that, like I don't know. I'm reserving judgment. But nothing about that initial casting has me angry. I actually don't think it's a bad fit for that show or for the Arrowverse.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I wasn't ready to jump on your hate train.
You never are. It's okay.
I sometimes am.
Most of the time, you're never skeptical. You always leave room for.
I'm too wide eyed.
Yeah,
guys, Justice League's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be so good.
It doesn't matter that Joss Whedon's in there.
Okay.
Pretty sure you could hear me say that in an early episode.
100%, probably multiple times.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of CW movies, or sorry, I'm. About WB movie? What am I? DC movies? That's
Richard,
the one.
Richard, Jesus.
You smell burnt toast? Is it just me?
Oh no.
We're getting some first impressions of the Aquaman movie from some fans who have seen it.
Yeah, and I think it's had its premiere.
Did it?
Yeah. I'm not sure where though. But yes,
it had its Malaysian premiere
or something like that, right? But yeah, the first impressions are all like really solid. That it's like a really like fun movie, lots of adventure, great action. That like the casting's really spot on.
It was the China premiere, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's been super positive. Like I think the worst thing I've even seen was. It's a great movie. I wouldn't say it's the best movie.
It's like, great.
Okay. They're like, the soundtrack's okay.
Oh Jesus!
That's the level of considering this is
as long as the soundtrack isn't like new metal, then we're fine.
This is a DC movie that's not from Nolan. The fact that that's the worst thing we've heard is a big deal.
Aquaman puts on the orange suit and walks out of the waterfall. Like, ooh, wah!
You know it's Icky Thump. Don't even pretend like it's anything else.
It's only Icky Thump.
But the fact that they go as far as they do in this movie, from at least from what we've seen from previews, and it's still getting garnered like super well.
Because they're throwing a lot into this movie. They're treating it like they only get to make one Aquaman movie. Like, so let's get all the Seven Seas, Black Manta, Ocean Master, Vulko, King Nereus,
which is interesting because it's not. I don't think it's going to be the only one.
I don't either.
It's if it's garnered this much popularity already, I think we're going to get more Aquaman.
I feel good about it. I know I've said that before, literally every movie, but I do feel good about this one.
Well, also, apparently, there's reports that there's a mid-credit scene.
Oh, so some sort of sequel tease, I'm assuming?
Or for maybe for Flash?
Well, but remember, like, quite some time ago, we read a piece of news where they said they were going to try and treat the movies a little more standalone-ish. Like, they are part of the same universe, but they were going to try and give them their own space instead of shoehorning in
each
references. So I would suspect it's probably more an Aquaman 2 setup than a Shazam setup or something like that.
So who's a villain you would love to see pop up at the end that's not in this?
Well, Aquaman villains are kind of funny because there's a couple of big ones and then a bunch of like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, it's you're not getting the sort of big two guys the way that like you're not like Batman and Superman's villains. Like you don't know them all.
I think I would just want maybe some more Black Manta, right? Like Black Manta is Arthur's arch enemy, even more than Orm.
As long as it's not
something about like whatever happens in this movie, because we know he fights Black Manta a little bit. So whatever we see, if it's like Black Manta planning his next move, or
a hand pops out from a grave, zombie Manta.
Do you think he's gonna kill him in the first movie?
Yeah, this time it's underwater. I don't know.
Wow, you're all over the place.
I don't know. I'm in a weird spot right now.
But yeah, I think if it was just some sort of like setup that way, or they wouldn't do this, but it would be kind of dope if like Amanda Waller like tries to get like possession of like Ocean Master or Manta or something for the squad.
Yeah, I don't want to see that, but I'd be interesting if that.
Even if that movie never happens.
Yeah, but if it was just a scene,
both of like that has happened in comics,
of course.
So it would be kind of like. Yeah, I don't know. I just went against the thing I just said about keeping it more standalone. So who knows what I want?
What I like is at the end he's like sitting on like the rocks against the ocean, and he just like sort of looks up to the sky and goes, maybe it's time to explore another frontier.
That's a weirdly good theremin impression. Wow.
It's really easy to do.
Yeah, I hope that's the mid-credits scene. It's just you humming and whistling
it's
at the same
time. It's just me, like...
Just you on the screen. Yeah.
Danger, Arthur Curry.
Sorry, it's lost in space now?
Lost underwater.
Okay. DCXX.
We know you're listening.
These are some of our best ideas yet.
All right, let's go to the next piece of news, which is a book I haven't read, but Vertigo's Survivors Club is ordered on the CW.
I also haven't read it, but I believe it has something to do with sort of like...
Oh, did you get like Gay Richard from the first season, and then...
No, it's not from Survivor.
Oh. Because that would be so cool.
Remember in season 2 when Hardcore Mike fell in the fire and he had to get choppered out?
Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah. Yeah, there was an era.
All your favorites, they're bad.
There was an era when Survivor was the thing to watch.
I just brought that up like yesterday or the day before because I don't want to brag you guys, but my wife and I got cable.
Thank you, Patreon subscribers.
and we've been seeing previews for Survivor, and I was like, wait, what? Survivor's
It's still on?
It's still
No way.
still on.
God, where do they?
I remember
where
the
do they
premiere.
even take them now?
I remember when my whole family got together and watched the premiere.
With your family?
My whole family and I got together.
We gathered around the radio and we
Yeah.
listened. Eisenhower told us who won the first season of Survivor.
Oh, Mr. Hitler, your fire's been extinguished. You're kicked off the island, Mr. Hitler.
Jesus. Oh, that's a map of Stalingrad. You won't have much fun there, Mr. Hilter. Yeah, so Survivor's Club, I believe it has to do with sort of like horror tropes. It was like a very, very like limited run Vertigo series, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one is coming to the CW, I guess. And then yeah, unfortunately I haven't read it. I can't speak too much more to it, but I guess it's probably going to be more sort of horror centric.
I'm okay with that. I don't know how that's going to be on the CW. I guess it's going to be similar to
Unless that's the CW being like,
Supernatural.
or it's, well, there's that,
Yeah.
but also the CW being like, oh, Sabrina's doing well on Netflix.
Yeah.
Maybe we should hop on, right?
It's really good. Sabrina on Netflix.
Yeah, I know you're into it. Yeah,
Oh my god, it's so much more brutal than you would think.
I've heard that actually.
There's a couple of moments you're like, oh shit. Because you kind of get tricked into like, oh, I'm watching like Riverdale Dark. And then it's just like, oh, that's way more dark than Riverdale.
Too dark.
Too dark. No.
Not like this.
All right, well, let's move on then. Young Justice Outsiders teaser was released. Have you seen this yet?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to see in it, to be perfectly honest. It's like, it's the teasiest.
It's more of like a light blow in your ear or something.
It's basically, like you see
The suggestion of a thigh.
You see Apocalypse, because that's where we left off at the end of season 2, was Vandal Savage and Darkseid shaking hands.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Young Justice was such a good show. So well written, very like maturely written, but also extremely faithful to comic books.
And we haven't seen anything from it for a while, right? Like,
no, it's been, I don't even know how many years it's been since season 2.
Wow.
But yeah, so this third season, we know we're getting like a version of the Outsiders. So Black Lightning, Katana, Metamorpho, Geoforce. We're getting other like extended sort of Bat Family characters, like Spoiler is showing up and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited for this show. It's doesn't necessarily have the place in my heart of something like Batman the Animated Series, because that one is just, it was so good and I've watched it for so long. But I think Young Justice is like, it's like of that caliber. It's so well written and so well performed and has such like an amazing sort of season arc in both of its first 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have to stop talking about it till we get an actual trailer then, because I feel like it's coming up every week.
Well, yeah, I mean the teaser things, right? They're just it was like, what did we watch next week? we didn't record these.
Oh yeah, no. Oh shit. Oh yeah.
We watched one for next week. That
day of week.
My wife has been listening to like back episodes.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Well, she's trying to catch up. She's very far behind, and I've apparently shamed her into like listening. But whatever she was listening to was the one where I pitched that in the merch store we should have a full calendar that just says month of year, day of week. It doesn't have any like dates or words or numbers in it.
No, but there's just a specific amount of spaces that it won't work if you draw the numbers in.
The most infuriating calendar.
Yeah, because they're just like, well, it says that, but you could just write the number next to it, and then it just, you start going down. You're like, 29 like days in July. What?
Oh yeah, this calendar starts in December.
Yeah, that's right. December 6th to February 10th.
And all the months are out of order.
Yeah. All right, let's move on then. Mr. Miracle series ends, but we get a Female Furies series.
Yeah. So I will not issue any spoilers for Mr. Miracle number 12.
You read the end finally?
No, mostly because I haven't read it yet because we're a week behind, but also because I'm being respectful but mostly because I haven't read it.
It's the first time. I was going to say, I'm like, we're not usually very respectful.
Well, I'm very rattled since I got called out.
Someone finally was like, you guys spoil everything.
Yeah. Hey, you fuckers. Some of us haven't read that yet.
I'm always listening to other podcasts and they're like, spoiler alert. And I'm like, oh yeah, we don't do that.
We haven't said that ever.
We never know. We blatantly are just like, I literally just spoiled Lost the other day with that.
Well, that's not a spoiler. Lost ended years ago.
Pikachu's Ryan Reynolds. Deal with it.
You bastard.
Someone was saying that they're excited for the scene that will definitely be in that movie where Pikachu stubs its toe, and you just hear Ryan Reynolds be like, motherfucking, and then Pika, 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 Pika.
Right. It cuts from the mother to just Pika.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Of course.
That would be pretty funny.
You clearly have to have that in there, too.
I can't believe how excited I am for that one.
I never thought, I can't say that. I would always have been this excited.
Yeah. It's on track in terms of hype to be like Lego Movie, where people were like, oh, just like stupid corporate shilly movie, and they're like, oh no, this is like a great movie.
I haven't been this excited about a Pokemon movie since we found out about Mewtwo.
Yeah, and that was...
I can't wait for the Burger King gold-plated cards to come out for this movie.
Wow, you're really dating yourself.
Yep.
What was this news?
Female Furies.
Right. So the Mr. Miracle 12-issue series is ending, but starting in February, we're getting a Female Furies series. So that is the team from Apocalypse that Barda led before she defected and
is this the same team?
That's no different creative team. I think it's got a female writer and things like that for it.
That's good.
But yeah, so it's like Big Barda, Stompa, Lashina, Mad Harriet, Granny Goodness will be in there. It's pretty cool that we're getting to explore like the fourth world more, like the New Gods. They're great characters. Like Jack Kirby made such like a fleshed out sort of history for them, and so there's so many characters. It's kind of nice that there's interest in that we're getting to explore that, but also like an all female team, basically of villains. I'm very, very pumped.
Hell yeah!
It's on my pull list already. So
inappropriate. I don't want to hear about that. Speaking on my pull list,
no.
Hulu orders a pilot for Jeff Lemire's Sweet Tooth. I'm so fucking stoked for this.
Do you know what? Both this and the Vertigo one, and we've talked about, like Morrison's inking a deal for like the Invisibles and stuff, like all that kind of stuff. I think this just goes to show that like some people say like, oh, there's just too many comic book movies. But if there's one good thing that's come from too many superhero movies, it's that other comic books are maybe getting a bit of a chance to shine. Exactly. This goes all the way back through things like, Preacher and Walking Dead and other things where they've already been adapted. But I think that like, if we take for granted that television and film are basically just going to mine other intellectual properties to make their scripts instead of making original things, then it's nice that they're not only mining like books, like books or past TV shows or things like that. There's a whole wealth of cool stories and interesting characters from graphic novels and that. So I'm
so excited for this. I mean, huge Jeff Lemire fan.
You guys came from the same place.
He also is just in general, he's a Canadian comic writer, which is great. But we are from basically the same city. And not only that, but this book specifically is, I think, one of Jeff Lemire's best pieces of work. It's generally in the top 5 for sure of things that he's been a part of. I'm looking forward to this show, which is, I'm assuming, just going to be like a shot-for-shot remake of Fall Out Boy Sugar We're Going Down. But
this episode is full of so many old references already.
Yeah. Fuck it, right? I'm excited for this because I think like it's an interesting take on like post-apocalyptia and like having like these weird human-animal hybrids. I don't want to give too much about it, but I think one, it's a trade that you guys should check out if you're looking for a good like single like trade like story on its own. It's just a great book in general, like outside of comics.
I know it's going to be live action, but I hope however they do the production design still somehow captures like the kind of weirdness of Jeff Lemire's illustrations.
Oh,
like his
yeah.
illustrations aren't like realism, right?
No, they're super stylized.
So I would hope that there's some sort of version of that style that can translate to live action, because I think that's part of like the charm of Sweet Tooth is the quality of the illustration, like what it looks like. So be ashamed to kind of lose that in translation.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how they sort of like have those come across without it making it seem weird. But I'm super into it. I can't wait. This is going to be great. Arkham Knight to make Batman Comics debut in Detective Comics 1000.
Right. So in March next year, Detective Comics will reach its 1000th issue in the way that Action Comics did in April this year.
Yeah.
Detective Comics 1000, one of the stories is going to debut a DCU version of the Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
They say, new iteration and all these things. I suspect it won't be Jason Todd because we already have the Red Hood and shit like that.
Yeah, I can't imagine that would be.
I think it's got to be something different.
Yeah.
But, I think it would piss me off if it was Jason Todd because we've already been through Under the Red Hood, right? It's fine to, like, adapt it for the game because... Yeah, Arkham Knight was essentially
It's adapting. A character you haven't had, so...
But also in the game, you're essentially adapting Under the Red Hood, right?
Yeah.
But we've already been through that in the comics, so I don't know who is going to be the Arkham Knight.
Has it always been... Was it Jason Todd in their first run?
What do you mean?
Arkham Knight. Is this just from the
character
video game?
Was created for Arkham Knight.
Oh. I didn't even realize. I thought it came from the comics.
So they're introducing a version of this for the comics now. But yeah, the Arkham Knight never existed before that video game.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see like what they do with this new version. Is
Jim Gordon.
Is this someone else that like Batman failed that wasn't like a Robin, but someone that was like left behind sort of in the dungeons of Arkham or something like that? Like who knows, right?
Maybe it's someone who's made so many costumes for other people and decided he needs one of his own.
I could, of course, when you're trying to come up with a name, we already have a Dark Knight. I can't be another Dark Knight. That was too good. That was an original idea of mine. But where does the night go? Often to Arkham.
When it gets a little too dark.
Or too crazy. Insane, you might say. Criminally insane. I was originally going to be called the Arkham Asylum for the Criminally Insane Knight, but it's a little bit cumbersome, so I've cut down a lot of the extraneous words. I'm just going to be the Arkham Knight.
I was actually going to be multiple dissociative order in the Arkham Asylum for the Criminally Insane Knight, but again,
so specific.
Couldn't find an acronym that made sense, so...
No, it was very difficult to pronounce, even when you took all of the vowels and the other consonants out. Well, then there was just no letters left, because there's only consonants and vowels, it turns out.
Who'd have thunk it?
I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
Well, last piece of news. DC gives Aquaman's powers to Black Manta.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I think it doesn't work if you do it after.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Damn it. Spoiler alert. In the current Drowned Earth arc that's happening between...
Which I've been hearing a ton of great things about.
Justice League and Aquaman. It's amazing. These sort of like... these sort of like universal ocean gods. So not Poseidon, but like they're from other planets and things like that. These ocean gods have come to Earth. They're flooding the Earth with this water that turns everyone into these like disfigured sea monsters. Atlantis has fallen, like all sorts of like basically like this is threat level midnight.
Threat level midnight.
But it's sort of been, these gods have sort of been invited by the Legion of Doom, who have been after these other energies, including things like the Still Force, including, the invisible spectrum that Sinestro is wielding. And then, Black Manta basically called these ocean gods, and they stole Arthur's powers from him and gifted them to Black Manta. So now Black Manta has the powers of Aquaman, and Aquaman does not have powers.
Can he still like breathe underwater?
I don't think so.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he and Wonder Woman are sort of off to try to find
a way to get his powers back, basically. But yeah, so Black Manta now has the powers of Aquaman.
Well, that's not good.
Pretty fucked up.
So is Aquaman gonna have to like put on his own little like undersea costume? And
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, Black Manta hasn't taken the costume off.
really?
Yeah,
But it's the powers. Why would you?
yeah, but he can, communicate with sea life now, and yeah,
Well, that seems like it's not good for anybody.
yeah. He'd be like, "Oh, it's Gary the jellyfish. What's up, Gary?
Wow.
You and I never used to be able to chat like this."
Just imagine.
Thank you, Ocean. No, oh, that was a good segue.
Yeah. I'm trying to get better at it. But as I don't know if you caught that genius segue there, but this week's theme, just imagine.
Yeah, this is our
Earth 6.
This is our tribute to the late great Stan Lee.
Stan the Man.
There was a bit of like a mini sort of event, like a special series of one-shots and things like that, where Stan Lee basically was invited to write new versions, new takes on classic DC Comics characters. So basically like the roster of the Justice League. And they are like vastly different. It now counts as Earth 6 as part of the multiverse. But like these are some of them don't even have the same names, right? Or backstories or anything. It's literally Stan Lee just taking like a concept or even just like the name, Green Lantern, and then just coming up with something totally new.
Yeah.
So like Superman is like a space cop whose wife was murdered, and then he's like stuck on Earth. But he decides to help people using he gets his powers from different gravity.
It's like Green Lantern meets Martian Manhunter.
Well, he stays on Earth and he decides he's going to help people because he decides if he can eradicate crime on Earth, then society will focus more on things like space exploration, and they'll develop the technology that can take them home.
Wow, that's a real roundabout way to get to a solution.
So that's Superman. Batman is like a down on his luck, like inner city black kid who
that's cool.
Who ends up framed, and in prison he sort of trains and betters himself, and then when he gets out he decides he needs to raise money to go after the people that like took down his family and framed him. So he becomes a wrestler who wears this very animal accurate bat costume.
Oh, really?
Like it's furry. It's got like the face and stuff on it.
Oh, wow.
And he becomes a famous wrestler known as Batman that no one knows who's under the mask. And then he starts fighting crime.
Oh, wow.
As Batman. So like that's that one. The Green Lantern, his name is Len Lewis. He's an archaeologist who ends up discovering the Tree of Life, or otherwise known as like Yggdrasil, like the World Tree. And the tree gives him like the power of life energy, and he becomes the Green Lantern, this sort of glowing green Dr. Manhattan looking kind of guy.
Do these books feel very Marvel?
They do. And then also specifically, they feel like Marvel from a very particular era.
70s?
The era when Stan Lee was writing, like the 60s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because you're reading them, and they really read like a Silver Age comic where like people are just sort of stating their objectives very plainly. They're sort of James Remaring a bit. And then there's also like Stan Lee was a great guy, but he also comes from a particular like time and place, and this is not his fault.
It's true.
So there's a lot of like there's little moments in a lot of these books where you're like, oh, is this character a creep? Like, for example,
sweet cheeks.
There's some of that kind of stuff where like Len Lewis, part of the thing is like, yeah, he's going to go look for the World Tree. He has this student who's like, oh, I'm interested. I'll come with you. But she's really got her own sort of plot. But he's like, yeah, you can come with me. You, such a gorgeous little thing. Like, but he's like, no, that's your student.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no.
Okay. No,
Len,
no.
Len, no. So there's like little things like that in a bunch of these books. And also almost all of these characters talk like they're from New York. Like, it's even like written like, do you know? I can hear Stan Lee as I'm reading all of these books, which is kind of maybe that's a nice tribute. But it's funny because they all kind of read like they have the same voice.
Have you ever did you I know you've read a few of these in preparation for this. Was this something that you were super familiar with before?
I had read a couple of them like forever ago.
Like, does your dad know these?
No. These would have been like,
because he's a Silver Age guy, isn't he?
Yeah, but these aren't from the Silver Age. They're just written that way.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like they read as if they are, but this was like late 90s, early 2000s
really?
Or something like that.
Because I've seen some of the artwork and they're drawn like they were.
But it's like Jim Lee or Doug Mankey or like there's
Jim Lee, no relation.
Yeah, important distinction.
I mean, you would look at the two of them.
But these
you might think,
modern like artists and some writers worked with Stan Lee as well. But yeah, no, I mean these are relatively modern.
Weird, because I've seen the artwork
within the last 20 years. Yeah,
they do. They look like 70s books. Like,
well, but maybe that was deliberate too.
I would
to kind of fit the tone of the
my
writing,
assumption
right?
would be that that's totally intentional. But
the Wonder Woman is like she's a Peruvian woman who gets imbued with the powers of the Inca sun god.
Wow.
Yeah. So like they're totally different.
Which is fun.
Yeah, it is. It's super fun. It's not just like an Elseworlds thing where it's like, but this time the lantern ring goes on the other finger or like whatever. It's they're vastly different, basically completely different characters. But you're kind of seeing Stan Lee's creative process, right? Like a lot of them have alliterative names like Len Lewis or Wayne Williams as Batman or things like that. What's Wonder Woman's name? Maria, like Marquez or something like that. But yeah, they're really interesting. So I went back and I reread like all of these Stan Lee Just Imagine books. They're mostly all one shots, but they're all tied together because you get glimpses of this one villain, like master villain in all of them, who is Dominic Dark. And then in the Just Imagine JLA, all of these individual characters come together for the first time to face Dominic Dark. So there's like a thread woven through all of the one shots. But yeah, it's pretty neat. And we got some questions about it too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's jump into those then. Heading over to Facebook.
Going to the face and the book. Going to the Facebook.
First question comes from Andrew Delgado. Or as I like to call him, Andrew Del Taco.
Did we get the Del Taco sponsorship?
Yeah.
We're hoping retroactively.
Yeah, that's
sponsorship.
like,
we heard you guys like slipped our name in there.
Yeah.
Here's a bunch of tacos.
Oh, we heard you got Andrew Del Taco on the podcast recently.
That's the CEO of Del Taco. Hi, I'm Andrew Del Taco.
Also, Andrew, if you are of like Spanish or Mexican descent,
sorry.
We're so sorry. Unless it's okay, because we've been told from some people.
Kid Caballero.
Yeah, Kid Caballero. You can't help it. You literally have no. Let's see what Andrew has to ask. Second time asker, sometime listener. I don't think you needed to say that. It's just slightly hurtful.
We get it.
I totally get it. But now my feelings are hurt. While DC may not have a content creator quite as prolific.
Well, finish the question.
Okay. And as strongly tied to them as Stan Lee was to Marvel. Yeah, Jeff Johns, maybe.
Finish the fucking question, then we can discuss it.
How do you think someone like Jeff Johns...
What a bad way to approach this question.
Or Scott Snyder... Can you not interrupt me?
Oh, Jesus.
Would handle a new take on Marvel's characters?
You just let things play out.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Fuck you. Right. I think if you looked at just like number of pages written or number of books written or things like that, there are people that have written more than Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But Stan Lee is really like, he's the heart of Marvel Comics and has been.
To be honest, he's kind of been the heart of comics. Like he's sort of been the figure out in the wild that like was doing interviews on like TV and radio.
Totally, but also he was just synonymous with Marvel Comics. You say Stan Lee, you think Marvel Comics, or you say Marvel Comics, you think Stan Lee. I don't know that DC has anyone like that for that long, right? You know what I mean?
No.
Like, you know, we're in a modern era. We know who the big guns are at different comic book houses, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't make them on the same level as Stan Lee. You know, if I had to pick someone from like DC's sort of past, be like Julie Schwartz, who was the editor for a long time,
But still not well known.
Marv Wolfman or something like that. But as prolific as they are, they don't have like the instant name recognition or the things like that in the sort of general public the way Stan Lee does.
No, that's yeah.
Now
that's
the second half of that question, if the tables were turned, so instead of it being just imagine Stan Lee's DC universe,
we get some of our sort of modern day
we get like a
prolific writers.
Just imagine Jeff Johns' Marvel universe. How do I think that would look?
Or just like how would they handle that sort of take? You know,
It's tough because to me, both the examples listed in the question, Jeff Johns and Scott Snyder, are very good at taking like forgotten or lost concepts and giving them new sort of life.
yeah.
But what Stan Lee was doing with the Just Imagine things was basically like creating new characters. Because there's very little about them that's similar to, other than like roughly some of their powers. Like the fact that the Flash is fast, or the fact that like Wonder Woman has strength and gets powers from some form of deity.
Yeah.
I don't. Jeff Johns and Scott Snyder, I don't know what I would expect out of that. I mean, Scott Snyder definitely comes from like a place of horror, so maybe his Just Imagine universe would be a little more kind of grotesque. You know, if you take the things that sort of make Marvel, that Stan Lee thing of like, that your powers are also a curse, then maybe it's more of a body horror thing if you're Scott Snyder, right? Maybe there'd be more mutants, for example, who are physically changed by their powers instead of just being people with powers.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that would be a thing that would make sense to me, right? If you're doing the X-Men, is that you take it the next step further. So like maybe Cyclops literally only has one eye and it shoots the ocular blast. Right? Or you know, maybe I'm not sure how that would translate for everyone, because there are already some that are sort of body horror-y, like Beast or Toad or Nightcrawler or things like that. But maybe it would be something.
What about like a Grant Morrison?
Oh, fuck me. Grant Morrison cut loose in Marvel. There's a lot to work with there.
I would love to see him work with somebody either like Daredevil.
Ooh, interesting.
Be really interesting. Or Iron Man.
Right. Or maybe if we take like the
Thor would be crazy, because I feel like he would like.
I mean, his Thor would be insane.
It would suddenly become like a whole different, like it would probably be like Greek mythology.
Well, it'd be Norse.
Yeah. I just mean that would change it to something else.
Oh, you think he would do something completely?
Yeah. I mean, that feels very like more.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. If we maybe slightly change the question and we just ignore like specific writers that we would send over there, maybe what the question's trying to get at is if Stan Lee was bringing like a Marvel feel or aesthetic over to the DC universe, what is the DC feel or aesthetic that could be brought over to Marvel?
I mean, there's a brutality for a lot of it, right?
I would actually argue the opposite.
Really?
Because the comics, like the reason that the Marvel pastiche universe in DC is called Angor is that they're riffing on the fact that Marvel characters were like so like beaten down or angry. A lot of those characters kill.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Shit like that. Like DC was always kind of built more like mythology, like you're witnessing gods, right? Even a character like Batman, who's like a human, he's so like impossibly talented that he's sort of removed from that. So maybe if you brought like the DC aesthetic over to Marvel, you'd start seeing them more like pantheons as opposed to like people burdened with terrible curses. Maybe that would actually introduce a little bit more like sort of like color or sort of like wonder or whatever. It's tough for me to know because I don't read that much Marvel. Like that stuff could already be over there and I'm just being redundant.
But
what Marvel character would you like to see DCified?
Ooh, I think I would be interested in like the Inhumans.
Oh,
there's something kind of fascinating.
It feels like very DC-ish.
They're people changed by this alien influence, the like Terrigen mist, right? That grants them their abilities and makes them sort of like part alien a little bit, I think, if I'm understanding that at all correctly. But yeah, I think there's something kind of fascinating about the Inhumans. That might be kind of neat.
I'd love to see Spider-Man.
Sure, of course.
I just think that.
What do you think? How do you think that would look?
Well, I mean, if you start going with with again the sort of like, it doesn't focus on sort of his personal life anymore. It's more just about like him having these crazy abilities and things like that. So either you could go extremely in the technological route that you do with Batman, where he has. Like, I mean, there's a lot of parallels there because you could be like, he's got the spider vehicle and I mean, there's a lot of that kind of stuff, right? Marvel has done a little bit where they go a little bit more literal with his abilities, and like he literally like the stuff shoots out of his arms, and his strength is way crazier. So I feel like there's a little bit more of that. It's more of just like tipping the scales, I guess, a little bit more.
I think maybe if Spider-Man was a DC character, I'd be interested in like some sort of adapted version of like the Red, like something more magical. Like maybe there are classes of animal, and every one of them has like, I don't want to use the word avatar, but has like a champion. So like for the arachnids or whatever are like represented by Spider-Man, but there's also like someone that gets, like there's like the rodents have like a person, and maybe like the, whatever, like all the different sort of classes of animal maybe have a champion. And so he discovers that he's one of like a group of these sort of like elemental animal champions. That might be my DC does Marvel approach to Spider-Man.
I'd really see like a Nightcrawler version.
Oh yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Remember how he was almost a DC character?
DC joke. Nice. It's the dorkiest joke I think I've ever made.
It is. It's such a deep cut.
I'm gonna punch myself.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Do it again.
What? All right, let's leave Facebook and head on over to Twitter.
Twitter. Stock the landing.
Sure.
Come on.
Yeah, you totally got it, pal.
Don't ruin my good mood.
That's true. First question comes from Raging G.
This is a brand new question asker.
Yeah. Is it Raging?
Well, there was a space, so I think he's a Raging G.
This is a really angry, like,
G.
Gangsta guy?
I guess. Hopefully my answer calms you down.
Yo, my name is Raging G, and I'm here.
No, don't be like that. It's such a specific kind of rapper. So white.
I watched the History of Rapping, the documentary on Netflix, the TV show. Yeah. With Shad as the host.
I love Shad.
It's really good. Raging G asks, has anybody else mentioned or used said characters except this image? I'm assuming the one that you posted.
Yeah.
Is it possible to do something like a bit story with them? Big story, maybe? I don't know. Bit story?
Probably big.
Yeah. Well, explain what the image was first.
So the image it's like a slightly altered image from the Multiversity Guidebook. So it's part of Grant Morrison's Multiversity event. And part of it is that they discover a comic book that actually outlines all of the Earths of the multiverse. And so the image of Earth 6, it says like Earth 6, there's a bit of an image behind it, and then it shows the characters. That's all it is. Other than that reference being in the Multiversity, I suspect in big things like, when there's the infinite, or all of the flashes of the multiverse show up in Final Crisis.
Yeah.
Or sorry, no, what am I thinking of? No, that's the Multiversity. But maybe, in the Flash, I'd have to go back and look, but he does confer with the Flashes of the multiverse at the House of Heroes. I suspect if you look closely, you would see the Just Imagine Flash in the crowd there. But no, they haven't really, beyond that series, been like used. There's not like a mini arc where like the Justice League gets teleported to another Earth and they end up there or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like Earth 8, like Angor, that it gets used way more than Earth 6 does. I'd be interested to see more of that Earth, of course. Also to explore more characters that you haven't gotten to see or things like that. So, but no, I mean, for the most part, I actually don't think it really has been used or explored, but I suspect you would see cameos of those characters anytime like the multiverse is mentioned. So it's possible that the Superman from that Earth you might see in that spread of the Superman of the multiverse from Final Crisis. Again, you'd have to go back and actually like look. I don't think there's anything that pops out in my head where I'm like, oh yeah, they showed up here. But I would suspect that they'd be in there somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Chad Bokelman.
Bokel.
He asks, what character would you have liked to see reinterpreted that wasn't? And how would you do it?
I think one that I'd be interested in is the Atom.
The Atom?
Yeah. Yeah. How would I do it? Well, so if I have to be Stan Lee, I have to give him some sort of name, like alliterative name. Let's call him Paul Paulson. I'm a regular Stan Lee over here.
Over here. Yeah. Look at this guy.
Paul Paulson, and he's working at a like nuclear silo, and they're deactivating the weapons. There's a peace accord between the U.S. and the Soviet Union or Russia or whatever on that Earth, and they're actually like disarming. And as he's doing it, the launch sequence initiates, and he's like attached to the rocket as it takes off, and he manages to detonate it in the sky so no one gets hurt. And then he's imbued with like atomic power. So yeah, and I think that would just mean he could like maybe do sort of like fusion fission reactions just with his hands. I don't think he would have the shrinking ability. I don't think that would make it. But I think he would just have sort of atomic power. He that would be my Stan Lee's version of the Atom.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. What about you?
Me, I would love to have seen Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
But it's a future day person from Earth who's sent to Mars,
right,
to hunt down like fugitives who have Mars was turned into like a prison, basically.
Oh, sure, right.
And they escape, and he has to like hunt.
Oh, so he's on Mars hunting men.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he have any powers, or is he's just like a bounty hunter?
He's just like a bounty hunter dude.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be more of like a Western book.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like that kind of genre, right? You know, he's like lone gunslinger tracking down the bounty kind of thing.
Yeah. And his name is Brian Bendis. No, Jim Jeffries. Nope, that doesn't work.
No.
Reed Richards. No. Fuck. Goddamn.
Wow.
Ken Coles.
There you go.
There you go.
Ken Coles. Love it. Is it Ken with a C? Because it's the future?
Yeah.
Ken Coles.
They're like, send souls, and you're like, fuck you.
Could be two C's. CCEN.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like a little nod.
Well, at least
to
it's
like,
not.
That's like a nod to like John, like with two N's, like John Johns.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's Ken.
We're pretty good at being Stan Lee.
Yeah. Spider Fens.
They said too confidently.
His name's not like Ken Culver Coles, and it's all K's.
No. Welcome to Krusty's Comedy Classic here at the Apollo Theater.
Next question. Okay, I just wrote this down because it's not actually a question. It's just something funny that someone wrote on Twitter.
Sure.
Which was not a question, but please don't kill this, Richard. It's from Richard.
Right.
He's like, this isn't Highlander. There can be more than one. And he's like, I mean, I'm the third. My dad is a junior. And I'm like, I'm actually a second. So
are you actually?
Yes.
Your dad's name is Richard?
Yeah.
Huh.
But does it?
So you have so many Richards to kill. I mean, not kill.
But also, I feel like he's got seniority because he's the third. I'm only the second.
Well, no, wouldn't your like primacy be like being more of an original Richard?
Oh, I like that interpretation.
You've only been named after one Richard. He's been named after two. I'm sorry, not to shit on you for it being Richard III. Richard the oh my god.
Oh my
Jesus.
god. You're going down.
They just found your body in like a car park a few years ago.
Seriously?
Yeah.
In a car park?
In a car park. I have something that I need to deal with. They found the body. It's in a car park. They know that I'm the one that killed Richard III.
Maybe you shouldn't have put it in the boot.
I thought with the time machine, I would go back and I'd just bury him in a forest somewhere and it would be fine. But now it's right in front of a Tesco's. And
I'm sorry, are we turning Alfred into a time-traveling assassin now? Because I'm okay with that.
It's getting so out of hand. It's getting so out of hand. It has nothing to do with Batman anymore.
The Legends of Gotham? Is that what this is becoming?
Oh my god! Yeah, at the season finale of Legends of Tomorrow, they were like, it was Alfred the whole time.
Oh my god! And they you keep seeing scenes, and you put the pieces of Alfred just in the corner.
He's like just peeking out from behind the wall, and all of these old.
By the way, there's a scene like that in Haunting of Hill House.
Oh really?
It's really really good. Sorry, it just reminded me. I want to spoil it.
I'm so happy to be the butler of Hill House.
Oh my god. Wayne Manor is kind of like there you go. That's dark.
It's all tied together. The Dave Rossi's proposed dark butler verse is happening.
Yeah, 100%. I told you not to go into the butler's pantry, down into the basement.
Is that a thing from Haunting of Hill House?
Or they go inside the... Well, I couldn't think of what it's called when they go inside the little...
dumbwaiter?
Dumbwaiter, that's it.
Yeah.
I told you not to go into the dumbwaiter. That's the scariest part of that whole show.
Okay.
I like you don't even know what happened. You were just getting scared.
I don't like it.
Dumbwaiter drops into the basement that they didn't know they had. It's like a crawl space.
Right.
And it's all dark. And there's a little kid stuck in the...
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's real scary. Next question comes from Raspberries Reviews.
Oh, no. The kind you find on a second-hand podcast.
I just love doing this voice.
I do too. That's the worst part. Like we're definitely overdoing the joke.
Oh
now,
no,
I just
it's not
love
funny.
The fucking voice.
But I just think that it's gonna become funny again after it's been done too long. Right? That's how it works.
What if this is one of those things where maybe he was a real person and he actually killed the Waynes, but then he made some sort of genetic programming. Maybe what if we're becoming the next Alfred? That was his way of being immortal. And I'm just slowly adapting the voice.
Suddenly, I can't stop doing the voice anymore. Then I find a suitcase under my bed, and there's information about a previous Alfred, which I slowly become.
There's an address, and they tell me to prepare a butler resume.
Yeah. I say the term Sector 6, and then,
like some post-hypnotic suggestion.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. Sorry, what does Raz ask?
He asks, I'm sorry, I have to get myself out of the voice. Okay, which version would you like to see become a part of the main DCU continuity instead of just being on Earth 6? Is Aquaman also your favorite on that Earth? If not, who?
All right. So I'll answer the second part first. So the Aquaman story there, I haven't mentioned it yet. A couple of these have to do with splicing animal DNA. The Flash one is about hummingbird DNA, and then the Aquaman one, it's like dolphin DNA. And then while that guy or while that character is swimming, they go through like a pool of it's like radiation or some sort of crazy shit like that. And then they end up they become like living water. So the version of Aquaman from Earth 6 is like living sentient water. Which is cool, but that is not my favorite one. If I was going to pick a favorite from the Just Imagine universe, it's actually probably Batman. I really, really love the Batman story. I like that Wayne Williams comes from poverty. He's not rich. He actually makes himself rich. It's something missing from the Bruce Wayne story, right?
Because the 1% need one more thing.
Well, I kind of love that. I mean, he gets tragedy in his own way.
His father is killed by the mob, and then when the mob then frames him and he goes to prison, then his mom dies because no one is there to look after her. So it's kind of like on him, you know what I mean? Well, I mean, it's not on him because he was framed, but like,
Yeah.
it's something he would have to wear, you know, like that sort of trauma and tragedy. So they still find a way to like orphan him, you know what I mean? But then,
Yeah.
you know, he meets this person in prison.
What process did they go by? Just curious.
I'm just making some notes.
Yeah, just
Well, sorry, on the Butler note, when he's in prison, he meets this fellow who's like an inventor and stuff like that. And when he gets out of prison, he's made all this money as a wrestler. He hires him to make all of his tech and stuff like that. But he says, I want to keep a low profile. Let's say you own this house and I'm your security guard. So like their civilian lives are like the inverse. Like he's the employee. You know what I mean? So yeah, that I really like the Batman one. It's a weirdly, it honors a lot about the original Batman.
yeah.
While being totally different. It's kind of fascinating, actually. I think it's the one I like the most. And also that's a character you can like. You know, the Superman of that Earth is like completely unlikable. He's just a dick, pretty much. He kind of learns the value of just selfless heroism a little bit by the time you get to JLA, but yeah, he's tough to like. If I had to take one of them and bring that version over to the main continuity, and I assume this question means like permanently swap their histories, like that. It's not just like here's another Green Lantern and it's this guy. It's that's the Green Lantern story. I think Green Lantern is the one I would do. I like the idea. It's reminiscent of, or maybe flipped around, the Earth 2 New 52 series made Alan Scott made his Green Lantern like the avatar of the green, and in a way that feels very similar to this Earth 6 one where like Yggdrasil, the tree of life, bestows like this sort of life energy, this life power to Len Lewis. There's something I like about that being connected to like the sort of like the natural forces of light and life and things like that. That's kind of interesting to me.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Not that I dislike what Green Lantern is in DC, but if I've got to swap them, that's the one that I like the most from the Just Imagine universe, that I wouldn't like. I love the Batman book, but I don't want to lose DC's Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
balancing all those things, I think it would be Green Lantern for me.
Nice. Well, with that, Dr. DC podcast will be back after this quick break. This episode of the Dr. DC podcast is brought to you thanks to our sponsor, Great Lakes Grooming Co. Honestly, I've been using this product actually for a really, really long time. I, as well, have a very large beard, same as the doctor. I think mine actually might be a little bit bigger. So my favorite products are, first of all, that beard oil. I've been using it for a really long time. I've actually not had to use cologne because of it. I actually stopped using cologne because it was just, that smell of that beard oil is amazing. I also have a very rough and dry beard usually, so this has been making it super smooth. And then I have to say that my second favorite product is that Noble Selves hair styling cream. That sort of, it's a medium light holding, which is really nice. It's hard to find a good holding cream for your hair. I've used waxes and gels and sprays and all that stuff, and it never really works. This stuff makes my hair look amazing. It holds for multiple days on end for people like me who don't like to shower. It's honestly a great product. So I've been super happy with it so far. I think you guys will be too. Great Lakes Grooming is meant to be easy and ready to use, rain or shine. All their products are purposely designed and environmentally responsible, handmade in Canada, ready for adventure wherever one may find themselves. And lucky for you listeners, you get 10% off on the Great Lakes Grooming's regular price products by going to www.greatlakesgrooming.com and using the promo code DRDC podcast. That's right. www.greatlakesgrooming.com, promo code Dr. DC podcast. Now, back to the show. And we're back.
Hey.
Oh, hip hop, hooray.
Nice.
Let's check some emails.
Chicka the email.
Hope from a female.
That was almost not even words.
We got it. Ooh, I like this one's from Fing Fang Foom.
Fing Fang Foom. Isn't that an Iron Man villain?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't read that trash.
Jesus.
So Fing Fang Foom asks, Stan Lee's version of Green Lantern was connected to Yggdrasil? Not Idris Elba.
It was connected to Idris Elba.
Idris Elba. My question is, how similar is Thor to his Green Lantern?
Not at all.
No?
You know, like the thing with the world tree, as they call it in Norse mythology, is that it's more of a metaphor, right? It's that the 9 realms are all sort of branches or portions of the tree. The tree is meant to be this sort of metaphysical energy or whatever that connects the 9 realms. So I can't name all of the 9 realms, but Asgard, Midgard, Svartalfheim, Vanaheim, Jotunheim, whatever the hell one is, and whatever. But
it doesn't matter.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
And in the Ultimate Universe, then they made Thor an alien, which is sort of the version they did in the movies, right? That the 9 realms was more of like a sort of space-time kind of thing. Whereas in the Stan Lee's Just Imagine Green Lantern, it's Yggdrasil is like, it does manifest as a literal tree. It's the tree of life. You know, it's supposed to be that thing that shows up in all of these different religions, right? Yeah. And it does sort of show itself as a tree when it's bestowing its power to Len Lewis, and they can retreat to this sort of pocket dimension of Yggdrasil. That's where the Justice League, once they form, they end up going there, making that sort of their home base.
Yeah.
It's a sort of like pocket dimension sort of thing. So they're actually completely different. They're only tied together just sort of with a very loose concept of that thing, but they have such radically different approaches to the idea of what that tree of life or what the world tree is, that they're actually not similar at all. And I mean, powers wise, they're completely different. Thor is the god of thunder, and that's that. And Len Lewis has like this energy of life and light in him, and they have completely different power sets. Yeah.
Oh, so not the same at all?
No, not at all.
Next question comes from Jesse from Puff Cheek Pastries. Makes lots of food, makes delicious treats for me. I wish I could cook.
Wow.
Tried to do a Herman.
That was really nice.
Thanks.
We should go on tour.
Oh my God, we should. Half musical, half improv.
I think the tour is just our drops.
Yeah.
Our drops and the bits.
Yeah.
It's no questions, no comic book talk.
We're really like a modern day song and dance man.
Just like Vaudevillians.
Yeah. And then Superman was like, wham!
Play me off, Richard.
Puff Cheek. Let's see what Puff has to ask. Hello, producer Richard and good doctor.
Wait, I'm second?
Yeah.
How the fuck did I get second billing? My name is in the podcast.
Because he knows who puts the questions together.
Oh, but I do the doc. To make the document.
I pulled this one together before you can put it on the doc.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, got access to the email, motherfucker.
You win this round.
Beyond that, he says, part of the idea that Marvel has with its heroes is that they have a tragedy. For all the power they have, there is a balance of personal tragedy. Do you believe that Stan Lee put that Marvel stamp on the characters for his distinguished competition in a respectful way? Do the new origins / reimagines feel like they make sense? And finally, do you feel the fact that some characters have different racial and ethnic backgrounds was a result of the new times or good storytelling?
Well, I mean, it is good storytelling, but it's definitely because of the new times, right?
And whether that means that Stan Lee in the past would have wanted to have more minorities, but that wouldn't have sold comics, and so he didn't, or whether that means that as time went on, he was like, no, it's better to have representation. I never used to feel that way, but I do now. It doesn't really matter which version of that is true. But I do think it's a sign of the time. So like I mentioned, so Superman is basically like white and blonde. He's pretty Aryan, which is in a way kind of concerning, but it's fine. Batman, Wayne Williams, he's like I said, like an inner city black kid. Wonder Woman, she is Peruvian. Len Lewis is a blonde-haired white guy. The Flash is a woman. Let's see who else we got in there.
That Flash is hilarious.
Yeah, with like the rainbow streamer kind of
I'm like
thing.
I half expect her to be like wearing roller skates. Those
that's true. It almost looks a little Dazzler-esque. Yeah, that's true. But no, I do think it's good storytelling, and I do think it's the sign of the times. I think those are sort of hand in hand, right? And it doesn't really matter if it's more of an indicator of growth in the industry or growth in Stan Lee. It's good that it's in there.
But I think that Stan Lee was going that direction in the like 70s and 60s, anyways. Like because I mean,
I mean, you have to imagine though that they were constrained by the time, right?
Totally, but Marvel was developing like different races. Races of characters,
but there's an interview I think with Kevin Smith where Stan Lee says, you know, like,
they weren't allowed to.
What he says is the Spider-Man was one of the first superheroes in like a full costume. You didn't even see like his chin or anything like that. And he said it wasn't their intention at the time, but what they discovered was then that allowed anyone to see themselves as Spider-Man. Didn't matter if you were like Latin or black or white or East Asian,
because you don't know what they look like, so it could be you, right?
Well, exactly. When that costume is on, they could be anyone, and he admits that wasn't the intention when they did it, but you know that realization must have hit him at some point, right? So yeah, I mean, certainly by the time we get into like the 90s and 2000s and he's writing these Just Imagine ones, we're long past the time where diversity in a superhero team should be a given. But yeah, so that's definitely in there. As far as the tragedy goes, they all like I said, Superman is an alien cop whose wife is killed.
Yeah.
That's my wife.
That's my wife.
Wonder Woman, her father is killed for standing up to this sort of cartel kind of guy, and then she ends up imbued with these sun god powers.
Yeah.
The Flash, her father is killed. They're constantly on the run, and as he's killed, he accidentally injects too much hummingbird DNA into her, and then that's how she gets super speed powers. Wayne Williams, I already talked about how his parents die. So yeah, I mean that's definitely in there. Len Lewis probably gets away with the least tragedy. Green Lantern probably has the least tragedy.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely in there. That Marvel model of the like great power, great responsibility, like you could have saved Uncle Ben and didn't, like all of that kind of shit is in those stories. It is really kind of fascinating to read them because you're sort of transported to a very specific era of Marvel comics. Like they read like Marvel comics in the 60s and 70s. It's kind of. It's a very, very strange reading experience. And the other part of that, too, is that in each of these one-shots, which are like 40 some odd pages, so they're thick, they're big, but we're trying to get like an entire backstory and motivation for a character and demonstrate their powers and set up, you know, a villain and all of this kind of stuff. So it moves super quickly. You get a lot of these like captions that are like, you know, this kind of training would take years, but you know, we need to move on with the story, so this is a montage. Like, it's that kind of like Stan Lee captioning where he like talks to you and says like, you know what's happening here. There's a lot of that. Like I said, the dialogue's pretty on the nose. Like people sort of stating their motivations, or you know, being like, oh, I just ran super fast. I wonder if the hummingbird DNA that Dad injected me with just gave me the, you know, like it's all written kind of like that, which also it just anchors it in that sort of Silver Age feel.
That one's the Hummingbird probably is the worst because I'm pretty sure that version of the Flash can go the speed of light.
Well, yeah, because she does catch up with herself before she left.
Yeah, which I'm like, ain't no Hummingbird go that fast.
How would we know? We would never be able to perceive it happening. How would we know, Richard?
You got me. I
Boom. Debated.
It's a new segment called Debated.
I'm a master debater.
Yeah, really proud of that one, aren't you?
Well, you know.
We got a last minute text in question from sexy ass Josh Gill.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's have it. Gil.
Gil, he wrote it on Instagram, but also texted it to me because I knew that he was reading some of the materials,
right?
And I was like, he never asked a question. I was like, I know that he wanted to ask one, so
sure.
I followed up with him. So we have a few questions from Josh Gill.
Let's do it.
Out of all the characters, there were only two that didn't have the stereotypical Stan Lee naming structure: Superman and Sandman. Why do you think he stuck with Clark Kent for Superman and didn't go with an alliterative name for Sandman?
Right. So for I'll just come out and say I have no theories on why Sandman doesn't have an alliterative name.
I just forgot it. I'm sorry.
It could literally just be like, I was in a rush, or like,
yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
For Superman, I think it's deliberate because so much of
Clark Kent is already that kind of name too, right? Like
so much about that character is kind of different too. I think that's a bit more of like a nod, you know. Because his name on his home planet is like Salden, or something like that. Like it's not like something
Hal L.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not Hugh Q or whatever. His name is Salden, and then when he comes to Earth, he's like, "Oh, I need like an identity," and he sees an ice cream truck that says like Peter and Clark, and then he sees two stop signs that say like Parker Street and Kent Ave.
Oh my god!
And he goes, "Clark Kent, great."
But it could have been Peter Parker.
It could have been Peter Parker.
That's hilarious.
It is. It's very cute little visual moment. But so Clark Kent though is still like sound wise alliterative, even though one's a C and one's a K. So I think it still kind of fits. On that note though of him actually being Clark Kent, there's an interesting thing in these books where there are people with the names of the actual DC heroes that live in this universe. Lois Lane is an agent, and she sees this Superman and decides that she's going to be his agent and make a ton of money off him. In the Wonder Woman one, Steve Trevor is like a guy who's trying to stop the cartel guy, and he mails these two runes that contain like demon spirits to America, and he's killed. But then, what's her name? Like Maria Marquez, or if I'm getting that name right, becomes Wonder Woman, sort of imbued with these Inca sun god powers. And then there's a little tag on the end of that issue where you see the museum in the States where those runes got sent. And it's Diana Prince, the curator, and a guy named Carter looking at these two runes that are shaped like hawks. So like, we know that's Carter Hall. Diana Prince is there. Like, there are alternate versions of the DC people there that are still sort of tangentially connected, and that's kind of interesting to me. So the fact that he's named Clark Kent, even though he chose it by accident, there could still be a Kent farm in Kansas.
Oh yeah.
It's just that they never find an alien baby, you know, like Jonathan and Martha just are farmers and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of neat too, right? The idea that like not every Earth are the exact same people implicated, right? There's something kind of neat about that.
I like that. Let's go to the next question then from Josh, which is, it's more of just a question. Thoughts on turning Madame Xanadu into a Granny Goodness type character?
Yeah, I mean, it totally works. You know, you could do so much with these characters, right? And I think what this Just Imagine universe proves is that it's you don't even need really to be bound by any particular rule. If you're making a version of something, you can just make it whatever you want. So yeah, I mean, like maybe a Madame Xanadu.
a Madame Xanadu who's sort of like manipulating children and things like that. Like you can easily do that because she's that sort of like occult kind of angle, you know, like so many regular versions of Madame Xanadu. She has like that creepy storefront, or she's like I'll read your tarot cards. And people think that it's a hoax, but it's not. Like it plays so much into the same sort of like imagery as like kids being abducted by a circus. Like it feels like it's all kind of part of that same sort of like people don't take it seriously, but it's this creepy sort of world. So yeah, to make her a Grady Goodness character, you could totally do that sort of, you know. I think that works totally fine. I don't have that doesn't bug me at all.
No.
But also, you know, like I said, if you're reading these Just Imagine things, you basically have to say like, I'm okay with anything, because some of these characters are nowhere. Batman is the closest, but some of them are nowhere near.
It's name only, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like his last comment. It's really just, but that dialogue though, and like exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark.
Well, yeah, and we've talked
like
about
crying
that.
face.
It's objectively not good, but it's sort of heartwarming in a way.
It's like this podcast.
Sure.
Look at those guys trying to do a podcast.
Oh, they're giving it their best shot.
Yeah, it's terrible, but it is.
They're not doing well.
No,
but yeah. You know, like I said, you just it just feels like picking up like a silly Silver Age comic. I kind of love it. Yeah. I mean, like I had read them before, and I think my initial take on them was like, some of these are pretty bad. And I'm not wrong.
They're not well reviewed for sure.
You know, like Past Me isn't wrong. Some of them aren't good.
No.
But maybe it's the nostalgia. Maybe it's because he's just passed away. But like I was reading them, like they're still kind of like interesting to read. Like I think there's a reason we don't like lean on this alternate universe as like the one we go to all the time. But there's still like value in it. There's something interesting, you know. That idea of Aquaman as living water is something DC even fucking did when he had the water hand. He had the water bearer hand.
Oh yeah.
You know, like the Green Lantern imbued with the sort of like life energy of the Tree of Life. Like I said, that is so tied to an Alan Scott version of Green Lantern, even down to the blonde hair, right? But like the original Alan Scott was weak against wood because the Starheart was sort of derivative of like energy from plant life, so it couldn't harm itself, right? That's why the original Green Lantern's weakness was wood. And then the New 52 one got his powers from the green. So like those are very similar feeling. Yeah, I mean there are the Wonder Woman one, you know, she's still imbued with God powers, but instead of just being a demigod, this is a person who is given powers of a god. Yeah, I mean, like there's things that still resonates or click, but they're yeah.
I don't think any of these, I mean, just given the fact that they're sort of copies or similar to already existing properties, I don't think any of them could have their own series or like TV shows or movies or anything like that.
Oh God, no.
No, but if given the opportunity for one of them to like make a sort of step into the CW verse.
Right, like if on like an episode of The Flash they ended up on that Earth.
Who would you like to see bump into one of these Arrowverse characters?
I think maybe for the visual interest and just the cultural representation, because you don't see a lot of it. Maybe the Wonder Woman, because you get this.
Whose show would you want it? Arrow. No, because that means you'd have to watch Arrow.
They don't deserve it.
Yeah,
I'd say either Supergirl or the
Legends?
Flash. No, not even Legends. I don't think. I think I'd want Supergirl or the Flash. But yeah, you get these sort of Incan sun god kind of things, like even just the iconography and stuff like that. You don't see those sort of like. This is also partly because I just watched John Leguizamo's special last night, and I was like, "Fuck, you really don't know like we
anything
know nothing about
like
Latin history."
No, it's true.
So yeah, I guess I think I'd go that way. The Just Imagine Wonder Woman would be the one I'd want to see.
Yeah. I'd like to see the Flash on Flash.
Oh, sure. Right.
Just like so mind-blowingly faster than Barry.
Well, but she would be like, I got my powers from a hummingbird, right? Just like you. And he's like, oh, you don't know about the Speed Force?
No.
She'd be like, what the fuck's a Speed Force? And then
to watch her go like, what?
Yeah.
Just put hummingbird DNA in your arm.
It's so easy. Why?
Everyone on my Earth has
I'm not even called the Flash. We just are the Flash.
That would be an interesting Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Speed Force Earth.
Ooh.
DC execs.
Yeah. Be really boring because it'd just be like,
yeah. To us, we're regular speed.
Or they would just film it like a regular TV show because if everybody's fast, then no one's
the
fast.
whole thing's in flash time. But imagine,
but you don't find out till the very last episode, and they were just like, yeah, and then they go to another Earth, and they're like, and you're like, they've been Flashes the whole time.
But imagine you were the one person on that Earth that didn't move at super speed. Maybe they all like age and die super quickly.
That just sounds like a Star Trek episode.
To them, you're a more. Oh yeah, it does actually. Yeah. Interesting.
I like that.
My nerddom is showing.
Well, let's keep the nerddom train going because that was the last question, which means
we're super prepared for this segment.
Every week we are always prepared. It's time for Dial Doc.
Okay, well let's do it this way.
So if you're a first time listener, Dial Doc is each week we sort of copy the tropes from the Dial H comic books,
right? Where
a person dials hero or villain to this payphone and then becomes a random hero or villain,
right?
So we're going to create our own now.
I think in tribute to Stan the Man, I want to try to pitch what I think the Just Imagine Dial H series would look like.
Okay.
So I think you have to you flash back to like wartime.
Okay.
And like the First World War.
Oh yeah, now it's really feeling like Marvel
from the front. And
they love tying characters back to the First and Second World War.
Well, and there's DC too, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I guess, but you like Wolverine and Captain America.
No, totally. So you're at the front, and there's someone who's trying to like send like a telegram, like
yeah, you don't need to do the hand movement. Nobody.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Someone is trying to like send a message back, and then this sort of like mysterious glow forms in the sky, and the shooting stops for a bit, and no one knows what's happening, but it sort of like short circuits the telegraph thing, and while the guy is typing. So then he becomes sort of like not like physically attached to it, but he can't be too far away from it.
Yeah.
He has to carry it with him all the time.
Oh.
And because it's the First World War, it's this big clunky motherfucker too. So that's the curse.
Yeah.
But basically if he sort of taps out in Morse code hero, then he gains like a necessary ability. He wouldn't necessarily transform into a specific hero, but if he's falling and he taps hero, he'd gain the ability to fly for a short amount of time
to get him back to
safety, and then that would be it. And I think that would be my like Just Imagine Stan Lee's Dial H.
God, you'd have to be falling for a really long time because like you know how long it just to even write SOS.
He's falling from 30,000 feet. It's the only time that helps.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's my cop out because I didn't prepare one.
No, that's good.
Your turn. Oh, I guess I didn't come up with a name for him.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you should slowly come up with a name.
The guy's name is
very slowly come up with a name.
Is Joshua
Jackson
Jiminy.
Whoa,
perfect. Yeah. I don't regret that.
Nope. All right. My character's name is Barcode Boy.
Okay.
Who's a grocer who can travel through any barcodes he scans with his magic portal gun that's like a scanner.
Okay, so his power is essentially teleportation, but the portals through which he can do it are just barcodes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I like to think that like he at first like he's like a teenage boy, and so the first time he does it, he just like goes into like some like like gets into like a corner store or something at the end of the night or something, or like comes into the store late at night, and then but this is a world where like all the heroes exist, so then he like finds a way to scan a barcode that he can get into like the Justice League's like base.
Right. So does he end up in like a barcode universe, or does he just like instantly teleport to a different barcode? Like, is he actually traveling through some sort of other dimension? Or does he just disappear in one spot.
It's like a pocket dimension that like he once he's scanned a barcode, he can always access that barcode.
Right. The barcode universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fascinating. The barcodeverse.
The barcodeverse. I mean, for coming up with it on the spot, it's not that bad.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
So what's his name? Barcode Boy?
Barcode Boy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it feels like
that's the right kind of naming, I think, for the Dial H thing.
Yeah. That's, well, we actually, I'm going to start adding in people's Dial H's in here because I think it's fun. So we got one from, I already did the name once, so I'm not gonna do it again, but it's Puff Cheek Pastries.
Right.
Who gave us one, and it's the name is Excelsior.
Oh.
I know. He has the power to produce good news that disarms his or her opponents, but the drawback is that personal tragedy must befall our hero.
Oh.
That seems like not enough. That's not enough gain. It's like, ooh,
somebody shows up and he's just like, good news, you aced the interview, and then like their mom gets hit by a car.
And it's only for like a momentary, like, oh.
It's only because he's delivering good news too. It's not even that the good event has like actually fully transpired.
No,
it's just that he's delivering the news.
Yeah.
I kind of love that.
I just like the idea that it's like, oh, I still can kill you. Like, it's fine. I'm just like momentarily.
Oh, wait, sorry. Is he the one that has to carry out the personal tragedy? Is the idea that he can give you good news, but if...
No. It says befall our hero, because that would be really dark.
Oh, sorry, but it happens to him? Like,
yeah. So sorry,
the drawback is that... Who gets the tragedy? The person receiving the good news, or him giving him? So he can only like bestow good news or help people at like his own expense.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and it's also like... The scale is tipped one serious direction.
Yeah. They'll be like,
it's your birthday. And my mom died. Like,
oh, I'm just picturing him like choking out his like dog. And he's like, and you're going to do great when you go there. You're going to win the Stanley Cup.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, it's super sad.
That's what an appropriate note to end this episode on.
Excelsior.
Oh.
I love that we're starting to read these out, and you guys are
sending some great ones.
Really, really good ones. So we're going to continue to do that.
Objectively better than ours.
Yes, well, it doesn't take much, but they also have time to think of theirs.
Yes, that's true. I mean, we have time. We just don't use it.
That's a better point. Yeah. Yeah. Why? That's fuck. Shut up.
It's not like we're working up to the minute, and then we're like, oh fuck.
No, we just do back-to-back episodes.
We've been recording for 4 years.
Oh my God, there's so many more episodes. It's weird that we've got the timing off for the news right though. But yeah, we want to hear more of what heroes and villains you guys can come up with. Tell us if they're a hero or villain too, because I mean, this could be a hero, I guess. But
it could be Dial V.
Yeah, but I want to know which one specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, use the hashtag DialDoc and send us your character.
It's not Dial V. It's Dial E, I think. It's for evil. I think you dial evil.
Is it?
And that's what it is.
I guess that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Well, fuck me then. I don't know. Whatever. Fuck me. But you can also just send us. We have a question. We have a next episode 80. We've already done it.
Yes, yeah. We
oh God.
We're about to travel back in time and record next week's episode.
What's 87 then?
No, 80. This one that you're listening to currently is 84.
I'm not smart enough for this.
We're about to go back in time and record 85. 86 will be us talking about Death of Superman, Death and Reign of the Superman in the comics, and also the animated film. And that's because that's our last full episode of the year, so that will help us sort of cap off Superman's 80th birthday years. We'll talk about that time he died.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Well, speaking of Docmus, the poll closed.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you guys voted on what our Docmus drink should be. Keep in mind, we're having 12 of these fuckers.
12 of these over the course of about 6 to 7 hours.
Yeah.
And it is Bruce Wayne's Orphan Tears.
Of course it is. So we're getting white wine drunk, huh?
Getting White Wayne. White Wayne.
White wine. Yes, we're getting white wine drunk for
White
Darkness.
Wayne.
How festive.
White Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, we get it.
White Wayne. You guys are paying for this because I'm doing this sober right now. Wait till I get drunk. Everyone loves drunk white wine, Richard.
That's true. They do. For some reason.
Yeah. White wine.
Inexplicably.
Oh, it's going to get real fucking stupid. At least this time I'm not going to be sick for 4 days after.
Oh, come on. It was for the podcast.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you guys don't even know. You guys missed out on some like drinks that I didn't put in because I gave myself a break. I came up with all these drinks myself over the course of one day. I mean, I didn't come up with a Caesar, which was bloody worth it. But
no, you came up with it.
Yeah, no, it was my first idea.
I just came up with a dial doc.
Oh.
His name is Shitty Bartender, and he basically thinks he's invented drinks that have already existed for years. So I just came up with this thing. I think I'm going to call it like a rye and ginger. I put like rye and ginger ale together. I just invented this thing. It's called the Tom Collins.
It's called the Phil Collins.
It's called the Phil Collins. So sorry, we are getting white wine drunk for Darkness.
I came up with this. I came up with this drink. It's called a Bloody Maria.
Bloody Maria.
Yeah.
Who's Maria?
It's just tomato juice and vodka.
So I call it a cran vodka.
Yeah, what's in it?
It's cranberry juice and vodka.
I came up with this drink. It's called a Julius. It's Clamato juice and vodka.
Oh, just reinventing all these things.
Oh, that's really fun. Well, if you want to send us your terrible drinks, or just you send us questions for the next episode, or nerd out with us online, you can do so through our various social media platforms, such as our Facebook account,
Dr. DC Podcast,
our Twitter
at Dr. DC,
an Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast.
You can email us,
drdcpodcast@gmail.com,
and we've also got a subreddit.
r/Dr_DC.
Yeah. Also, not only can you talk to us, but you can read some of our DC specific articles that we put out occasionally. Mm-hmm. Whenever the doc isn't inundated with daily life, having a child, having a marriage, a podcast, a career.
I spent so much time on this podcast, I might not have the marriage.
That's true. That's true. You haven't seen your wife in a year.
We've been recording nonstop.
Yeah, but yes.
This will all pay off when you get to episode 319.
So you can see the doctor's manifesto on our website.
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
And now we have another great way for you guys to get a hold of us. You can call us now. The doc phone is open. Leave us a voice message at 208-917-DCEU. You can ask us a question. You can just say how much you like something or how much you dislike something. You can. What else can they? They can leave us a dial doc on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else can they do?
I don't know. They could tell us what they're wearing. No.
Yeah, Josh Gill, you heard that.
No. Shouldn't have said it.
Or screaming to the endless void that is our existence. That's 208-917-3238. 208-917-DCEU.
Very cool.
Very cool. And then we got a Patreon.
We do.
We have a Patreon. The first episode is out.
It is. Yeah. We've already gotten, I think, more subscribers than we were expecting, which is amazing.
6 more subscribers than I was expecting.
I would say we have 8 more than I was expecting.
You thought that Patreon would actually force us to pay them money and we would get kicked off?
Yeah, you guys are like taking up our bandwidth for no reason. Just you pay us. So thank you everyone who's already signed up. But every week there's a bonus episode, the Dr. DC Double Dose. And we go through all sorts of different things, reviews, just discussions, debates, improv.
Insane.
There's some really like crazy shit. But hopefully you guys enjoy it. But patreon.com/DrDC and you can sign up and check it out.
Yeah, and then just remember, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, give us a 5-star review, write something nice. We haven't gotten a review in a little while. It'd be cool to see one of those popped up there. Then we'll read them on the podcast. But that's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Same
You bastard.
talk, ocean, same podcast boat. Cha-cha!
Adios.
Here.
Aquaman, all the superheroes. They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure.